Is this on? Okay, sorry for the slow start. I couldn't tell if my computer was working. This is Tiffany, AFG, and I'm responding to the holiday question. I celebrate Christmas, and my family always has. Um, my favorite tradition from Christmas, there's two that I can think of. One, we always got a real Christmas tree, so it was always really fun to go pick it up. In some cases, in the early years, I actually cut one down, drag it home, put it into the tree stand, and then spend the rest of December picking up pine, like the little needles that were all over the floor, would clog up the vacuum cleaner, and it was terrible and frustrating. But it smelled so good, and it was so much fun. And it's actually, that's something that I really miss living alone now. Because I have a tiny little 4 foot artificial plastic tree, and it sucks. It's not the same, right? The other thing that my family did that meant a lot to me was um, we would go on Christmas Eve, sometimes the day before, and drive around town and look at everyone's Christmas lights. And in my family, this was, even as a child, I remember this being just sort of hilarious because we were sort of a poor family. You know, we rented a house when I was younger, and then when I got a little bit older, we bought a trailer. So we had one little string of lights outside, but we would go to the nice part of town where the doctors and the professors lived and look at their amazing sort of displays of lights. You know, the kind of stuff that my father would just say is way too much money to spend, and how can they afford their electric bill? And every year his refrain would just be, you know, to sort of drive around and show us the lights and how amazing they were, but then also sort of make fun of the rich people and stare at them through the windows and never with the sense of that's what we wanted, really. Though I think there were undertones of that, but it was just about celebrating sort of the craziness and the zaniness of how people celebrate this holiday. And we never went to church at all as a family. When I was in high school, my sister and I drugged my dad once to one Christmas Eve ceremony, which was really fun. Um, but other than that, I just remember being so excited to wake up Christmas morning and open presents. And I will share one more Christmas memory, and this is probably shaped who I am and some of my deepest, darkest fears. But I ruined Christmas one year. Um, I was probably about 3 years old. This is literally my first memory in life. Um, and the memory starts with me opening up all of my packages. And I have no idea how I got there. I know it was the night of Christmas, and I remember my mom screaming at me, and this was the 80s, right? So she's wearing one of those neck to ankle flannel floral white nightgowns. You guys know what I'm talking about, right? With little frills up here. I mean, we're talking like Little House on the Prairie meets the 1980s, meets like the Frigid Housewife. She's wearing that, and she's standing in front of me. My dad is wearing a blue robe and blue flannel pajama pants and a white t-shirt. I literally remember everything about sitting there. I was opening up what I know now was a crock pot. I remember looking at it and thinking, what is this? This is dumb. And I'd open up my dad's socks. He'd gotten some clean white socks. And my mom is screaming and crying and saying, Tiffany, you ruined Christmas. And then my parents got into a huge fight because my dad was like, how can you say that to her? She didn't ruin Christmas. And then, of course, I start just bawling and bawling because I had ruined Christmas. My mom was screaming at me and crying. And I probably need to go to therapy at this point. But since that point, I'm the kind of person when you give me a gift, I shake it. I try to open it. I spent every moment that I could trying to figure out where my parents hid Christmas presents, um, all all winter long, really. And it got so bad that my dad would actually put them in the trunk of his car, in the car that he took to work. Um, and I remember one year that car broke down, so we didn't have our presents, but it was all related to this sort of lifetime quest that I have of having to know what my presents are ahead of time. And I hate waiting and hate surprises. So I really do love Christmas. I think it's a tough time for many folks, and I don't think I'm the most cheery, caroly kind of person ever, and I very rarely decorate or anything. But for me, as a kid, even though my family didn't have a lot, I really appreciated Christmas for that sort of sense of magic and fun and bringing out the best and the worst in my family and myself. So, all right, bye guys. If I can figure out how to turn this off, we'll see. So let's look. Looking. I'm hitting the stop button. All right.